Mind your business. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I still can't believe this bucket is real. They knew what they was doing. So, Dune Part 2 is essentially the second half of a 5-hour movie. The film is directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Florence Pugh, and Austin Butler. Paul Atreides unites with Shani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. So the biggest question that I have been seeing on the internet is, do I need to see Dune Part 1 to understand Dune Part 2? And the short answer is yes. Yes, you do. If you haven't seen Dune Part 1, there are some things in Part 2 that you are simply not going to understand, or you're going to be asking some questions on. However, I don't believe you need to see Dune Part 1 to have a fun time and enjoy Dune Part 2 and appreciate the entire movie as a whole, because this movie has a lot to offer. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, because I need to talk about this first, because I have to get my thoughts out the way, because I am just in shock with how incredibly gorgeous and jaw-dropping the visuals and the cinematography and the production is. Like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I have not seen a film that was this visually immersive since The Creator. Like, listen, if Denis Villeneuve were to come out in an interview and tell the entire world that he filmed Dune's Part 1 and 2 on a whole nother planet outside of our solar system, I will believe him. I will believe him off the rip, because I'm still in shock with how visually gorgeous and just breathtaking this world is. Everything from the Dune terrains, no pun intended, to the black and white coliseum of the bad guys, I forgot what they were called, but everything about this film from a visual and a production standpoint, absolutely astonishing. Just incredible work. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is why artists should be allowed to take their time to build something beautiful, because when you have movies like Dune Part 1 and Part 2, it really allows the audience to feel immersed in this world. Like, it feels like I'm actually in the world of Dune. If I honestly lived in the world of Dune, I probably would not last no more than 24 hours, because knowing me, I would probably get swallowed whole by those fucking sandworms. You could tell Warner Brothers put a lot of faith in this movie, and rightfully so. The amount of money they made off of the first Dune, I don't remember how much, but I think they made a decent amount. Honest to God, I don't see this movie being a box office bomb. I don't see it happening. I will be shocked if this movie makes less than 500 mil. But like I said earlier, this movie has a lot to offer, more than just visuals, production, and cinematography. Let me get into the cast real quick, because everyone in this film is incredible. To start off, Timothée Chalamet was phenomenal as the leading role. I enjoyed Timothée Chalamet a lot in this role. Like, to play this young dude who practically lost everything. I won't spoil what in particular he lost from Dune Part 1, but this man essentially lost everything, and now he found a new purpose, and he feels that he needs to take on this purpose to exact revenge on those that wronged him. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've heard some critiques from fans of the book criticizing Timothée Chalamet's casting as Paul Atreides. Keep in mind, y'all, I have never read any of the Dune books. I have only seen the 2 movies, and so far, I love Dune. Like, I am really invested into the characters and the lore and this world, and I want to see more on the big screen. One of the biggest problems that I had with Dune Part 1 is that Zendaya kind of got pushed to the sideline, and I told myself, I hope she gets more to do come Dune Part 2. And long and behold, that she did. To play this woman who is falling for Paul, but at the same time trying to still keep her guard up, was an excellent performance, and I love that aspect. Given with how Dune Part 2 ends, I'm really curious to see what happens with her character in Dune Part 3. Again, I have not read the books. Do not tell me what happens. But the biggest standout in this whole film, without a doubt, was Austin Butler as Feyd. I think that's how you say his name. Talk about an unhinged psychopath. Feyd has to be one of the most psychotic, most inhumane, most irredeemable characters I have seen in pop culture lately, and I love it. This unhinged bastard is the type of guy that would kill you for fucking up his order at McDonald's. But Austin Butler's performance was staggering, it was terrifying, and honestly, it's probably my favorite performance from him. Since Austin Butler is a method actor, I am really curious into what he did to get into character, because I need to know. But the entire cast, absolutely extraordinary. And speaking of extraordinary, the action in here, the action in this movie is on a whole new level of epic. Like from the very beginning of the film, shit is going down, and all the way to the very end, just an absolute the final act is just complete chaos. Like there is so much happening on screen, but I loved it. That one-on-one knife fight scene was crazy, and the editing and the sound design in this film is just awesome. But in particular, I want to talk about the sound design. I'm gonna say this right here, right now. Please, for the love of God, go see this movie in IMAX. It is movies like Dune Part 2 that reminds audiences of why the movie theater experience will never die, and why you need to see epic blockbusters like Dune Part 2 on the biggest screen possible. The bone-trembling booming sound and the enhanced IMAX ratios really enhance my immersive experience. This movie was made for IMAX, so please, for the love of God, go see this in IMAX. And I really love the story here. I didn't really know what to expect with the story. All I knew is that this takes place after Dune Part 1, and the events that's going to play into Dune Part 2 come from the events of Dune Part 1. Dune Part 2 practically takes place damn near immediately after Dune Part 1, and from the beginning of the film to the very end, it focuses really on Paul Atreides. Well, first of all, he's the main character, but this is really his story, and I am just fascinated with the different plot twists and the turns that this movie takes and the ultimatums that it gives Paul. I don't want to spoil this story because, again, there are a lot of plot twists and a lot of oohs and ahs that's going to really keep you invested into the story. I'm going to shut up because that second act was wow. I certainly did not see that one coming. And the soundtrack in this movie is just cosmic. Hans Zimmer, you talented genius, you did it again. Beginnings Are Such Delicate Times is some of the most peaceful music I have ever heard for any film ever, especially for a sci-fi film. I really have nothing bad to say about this movie. I genuinely don't. In fact, I am so convinced that you cannot sit up here with a straight face and say Dune Part 2 is ass. Like, there's just no way. There is no way you could sit through 2 hours and 45 minutes of pure cinematic glory and say the movie was mid or ass. But in the end, y'all, Dune Part 2 is one for the books. When it comes to top tier masterclass sequels, this movie is up there with The Empire Strikes Back, The Dark Knight, Blade Runner 2049, Top Gun Maverick, and you know what? Spider-Man 2. I don't care. That is one of the greatest sequels ever told. I fight me. Dune Part 2 is a masterclass in cinematic storytelling, and this movie proves once again why the movie theater going experience will never die. So plugging Dune Part 2 into the rank system, I am placing this one into the pinnacle zone. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much my review for Dune Part 2. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about Dune Part 2. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What is your favorite sci-fi film? In a few years, do you think Dune will take over Star Wars? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all in the next one.